This is the Appliance Alliance podcast, where we are elevating the appliance industry, one podcast at a time. Hey guys, and welcome to Appliance Alliance podcast. So I just want to give you a little heads up. This episode, along with the two that are coming after it, were recorded prior to switching to our new platform. So just bear with us. We had some technical issues. These were all recorded months ago, and the content's good, so we want to make sure that we got it out to you. But as we promised, we wouldn't put out crappy content and just get over the audio issues, and we'll be back at it after these three. So with that, stay tuned and enjoy. Hey guys, and welcome to the Appliance Alliance podcast. I am your host with the most equipment, Zach Ryder. And alongside of me today, I got two of my co-hosts, but we'll introduce the first one. He is the man with the plan. He is now the one with the short beard, Mr. TK Cousins.
What's going on, everybody? We're back in the studios to get some interviews done, and I'm super excited. We got brother EJ with us tonight as our additional co-host, Mr. EJ Magic Mike. Thanks for joining us again, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction here. I didn't want to miss this one here. We've got a special guest tonight. We're interviewing Stephen Hughes from Lexington, Kentucky, running a Mr. Appliance franchise right here in my area. So I'm interested to see what goes on here. Stephen seems to be a good guy. So looking forward to this interview.
So, Stephen, we'll let you introduce yourself here. Tell us a little bit about you, how you got into the industry, how long you've been in the industry, that kind of background, some of the stuff that we were talking about in the pre-roll.
Sure. Stephen Hughes. We own a Mr. Appliance here in Lexington, Kentucky. We have been open for 9.5 years as Mr. Appliance. I have been in the industry it'll be 18 years next month. My wife is my business partner. She keeps me straight, and she has been in the appliance industry handling claims and parts and inventory for 10 years. And we started out with just me and her working out of a closet. And now there are 9 technicians, 2 CSRs, and still looking to grow and get better.
Awesome. I wanted to start kind of kick things off as far as the interview goes by talking about the Mr. Appliance franchise. And first of all, for those that are just completely new to the thought of a franchise, just a little bit about it. And then secondly, how you ended up with a Mr. Appliance franchise as opposed to, keep staying with your own business or whatever.
Yeah. So my first experience with Mr. Appliance was 17 years ago at a training school down in Miami that my boss at the time sent me to. And it was a school that Whirlpool funded or partially funded, a vocational school as part of Miami-Dade County school system. And one of the things that came with the funding from Whirlpool was they had to give the school up for, I think it was 3 9-week periods so that Whirlpool could do factory training. I went there as just a Whirlpool factory tech working for an ISP. I get there, and the only dude that was there the entire time was a Mr. Appliance technician. And I give him a little grief because I made fun of his shoe covers and I made fun of his little belt and his uniform. And then I got to talking to him, and he loved where he was. Fast forward, the company I worked for was struggling and going out of business. And part of that was packing up their materials and stuff so that they could move everything out of the building and sell the building. and I found a 3-ring binder. It was a sales pitch thing from 97 or 98 that Mr. Appliance had sent the owner of the company. I started looking into it and their systems and their code of values, and just the way they looked at it was different. I had an appliance business background. I had an appliance service background, some management background, but did not know how to run a business. And started researching them, looked them up, and I reached out to them. And then 9.5 years later, it's been a good thing for us.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have a Mr. Appliance near us as well. They actually have a really, really great location there. Their office is literally right next to the Tribble Supply House. And I was like, man, whoever thought of that location was planning ahead for sure.
Smart dude somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, the weird thing is I always see him at Cashwell's, which is on the other side of town. So I don't know. But anyway, before you worked for the 9+ years before you started the Mr. Appliance, how did you get into appliance repair? What brought you into it?
I'll just be honest, man. I was a high school dropout and was working menial jobs. And when I say that, I mean anything where you are physically not required to think, but lift with your back and your arms. I was doing that for 4 or 5 years. I was making a decent living. Got approached by I was working for a moving company, and a guy approached me and was like, hey, do you know how to deliver refrigerators and washers and dryers? And I was like, no, but we do it every now and then, so I'd be more than willing to learn. He started me out there. And then whenever you deliver appliances, things can go wrong. You hook something up wrong, or out of the box, something's disconnected or whatever. And I refused to make a trip back to the store to bring another product back out if I could fix it in the house. The owner saw that and started asking me if I was interested. Started having me do some little things, replace some door handles and things like that. Then started doing installs for him, microwaves, dishwashers, disposals, standalone ice machines, and then Sub-Zero and Wolf installs. And then it got to where he needed more technicians, and he sent me to the Whirlpool school, and then came back. And I tell you what, I thought I knew what I was doing after finishing that school, and I got back and I realized I knew nothing. I knew enough to be dangerous, and that was before iPads and YouTube and all the great resources. I mean, I had the microfiche, going back to the office with the old guys at the office, looking up microfiche and then telling me, here, let's go out to my truck and the milk crate and pull out the service manual. And I'm like, what do y'all got? That was the beginning of it, and just grew from there. And then I have a passion for it, and I've learned probably the last 2 years working for the other company, and definitely the last 9 years for our own business. I love teaching people what we do as far as appliance repair, especially guys that have no outside skills, that they think that they don't know what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. This is a trade and a vocation that you can do and provide an honest and good to great living for your family. So that's been our passion more here recently, is delivering great customer service, but also watching our people grow professionally and personally. We found that to be more rewarding than anything else, which everybody gets into business to make money. But at some point, man, it hits you. You're watching these guys that you started out with. When you're talking about TK hiring a 21, 22-year-old, you give it 7 or 8 years and you see them grow and start having a family and buy a house and grow into professionals and adults. It's something else.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Stephen. I knew there was something about you that we would click with, and you're hitting on all of it right there. I want to kind of go back to one thing, but touch on this part too. You had mentioned that what appealed to you was the procedures and the way of thinking, the way Mr. Appliance these things. One thing I've noticed, because we're friends on Facebook, I love it, man. You got all these people working for you, and you make posts out, calling them out, telling them good job, or congratulations on your anniversary with the company, or this person just completed a training. I love that you're taking care of your team, and I wonder if that's what appealed to you, or if that's something that you brought to the team, or what was it about Mr. Appliance and what drives you?
Yeah. So a lot of those posts and a lot of those things, yes, corporate, Mr. Appliance, the neighborly company, yeah, they want you to do things like that, but they leave it to you to figure out what to do and how to approach it. But my main focus behind it, and my wife's focus behind it, is honestly, we look at it and we look at some of the worst bosses we've ever had, and we try to do the opposite. I mean, and that's if you got to add a boy, that was one thing, but to be, I don't know, to have someone's pride in you shared means the world to people. And I like it. I mean, everybody here likes a pat on the back from somebody they look up to or they respect. And we know what that means to our people because we know what it means to us. And that is one of the things that Mr. Appliance tried to foster, is caring about your people, because if you're not a one-man operation, you have 2 techs, you have 3 techs, you have 4, however many techs you have, if you have another person working with you, if you take pride in them and you share that pride, that goes a long way. And I know it does for me when people have done it for us. And it's just, I want to take care of our people and show the respect to them and what they mean to us.
Yeah, you guys have clearly understand that the people are the difference. You can find anybody and try to teach them appliance repair, but taking care of your people so they take care of the customers is the secret ingredient. You guys have figured that out. We've been talking a lot about in previous weeks and videos, hiring and training, and that seems to be something that you have excelled at. What's the secret sauce to getting good employees? You talked about training, but where are you finding your guys? I don't want to take your guys, but maybe I can look in the same.
We're blessed, one, that we have great people. But let me be very clear. There was a lot of trial and error to this. We have had some horrible flops. I've personally made some bad decisions. Instead of coaching and mentoring, I tried to be a boss. Instead of trying to educate and see it from their perspective, I tried to see my perspective and force it on them. People don't know what they don't know. I won't get into nuts and bolts of teaching them how to read a wiring diagram or use their meter correctly. But I will get into, if you're teaching someone, you come at it with the perspective of, one, they're not you, they're never going to be you. If anything, you want them to be better than you technically, and you want them to excel at everything. And we try to look at it that way. In the beginning, I failed at that. I was forced. I mean, I knew how to get frustrated and trying to come at it from a different approach. And some of my mentors have said, you've got to talk to them, set clear expectations. Clearly, I mean, if you don't set the expectations, you can assume that, hey, I hired you to be an appliance tech. You know what that means, but they don't. Set those things out clearly. If you don't, you're setting them up for failure, which in turn is going to make you fail. And it's no different when they succeed, you succeed. The same back and forth. And the same goes for failure. If you set them up for failure, you're going to fail too.
I love that, man. So one of our previous podcasts within the last couple of weeks, I literally just said the same thing. Like, if you don't set this expectations, it's your fault. Yeah. If you are the owner of the company, if you are the manager, it is your fault. If you didn't set the expectations, they're going to fail, right? Yep. You're going to be upset because your expectations are unmet, but you didn't make your expectations clear. So you got no one to blame but yourself. So I love that.
My favorite book is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willenick. Reading that book, I was already on a path in my head to try to be better. And reading that book puts it all back at you. Even when they make a mistake, it's your fault because you didn't teach them. And you need to go back. Hey, my fault. What can I do to make this better? What can I do to make you better? What can I do so that we both don't experience this again? What do you need? And it's true. I mean, when you look back at it, if you take ownership of everything, ultimately, if you can communicate it effectively and teach it, they're going to be better for it as well as you. And if you can clearly communicate to them what you expect and what you need, the odds of failure start dropping drastically.
So I just want to take a minute, and you are right in line with everything that we believe at the Appliance Alliance, like elevating the industry and taking ownership of what you're responsible for, who you're responsible to, leading your team with integrity. And I just love the humility that's pouring out of you, man. Like you literally are you're an example exactly of the type of owner that we need in this industry and the type of manager that we need in this industry. And you're exactly what we are trying to elevate the industry to. So I want to throw that out there and say it's a breath of fresh air to hear someone else, obviously basically everyone we interview on this podcast has that same type of mentality. We wouldn't bring them on if they didn't, but it's just so cool to hear. So thank you for the way you are, man.
It's come a long way. My technician, Travis, who has been with us the longest, 8 years. And we say he deserves an award because he's been part of the evolution of us as business owners and as us as people. He knew the bad version of me, and not that it's like horrible, but it was, I didn't communicate well. I was quick to temper, held high expectations of people without clear definitions of what I expected. And he has survived that. And now he tells us all the time, man, I wish this was here 8 years ago because I would have done great with it. He's doing great now, but I wish I'd caught to this faster and realized the error of my ways. And that's one of the big things when I hear some of the guys and see stuff on these forums where the guys are talking about the tech's stupid. They're calling them names. I hate that. There's no reason to call a name because it doesn't do anything but belittles people and it stops people from listening. When they can share and communicate and do it on a one-to-one level, it makes more sense. Nobody likes to be humiliated or called out. So when you can talk to someone like a human being and then let them know, hey, I've done that. I've made that mistake. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. And that's one of the things I tell new guys when they start with is you're going to screw up. Learn from it, be honest about it, and we'll all be better for it. And that's one of the things that I think that I wish that I'd learned much faster instead of trying to make everybody me, which is not the greatest thing either. So.
Yeah, that's good, man. Like Zach said, that totally encompasses what we're all about. And we've been talking, I don't know if you've heard of the mastermind group we do, but me and Zach and EJ and Justin do a mastermind group once a week. And we're always talking about, policies, procedures, systems, and all of that stuff. And what I'm learning, I've been this will be my 6th year in the business. And what I've really learned is, in hindsight, just what you said, when we start our business, you're not thinking 10 years down the road. You're just trying to get things going. You're trying to, and that's one of the things I love about EJ. EJ's is being proactive on so many levels with his business. And I think that's so important for business owners to realize, like when you first get into it, you don't want to wait 2 to 3 years to start getting these policies and systems and procedures in place. You need to start on it on day one. And it's ever evolving, obviously.
And we lost TK. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. EJ, you said you had a follow-up, so we're going to go ahead and take the pause here, and I'll cut.
Yeah, I asked my follow-up, but I was wanting another turn. Man, I'll tell you what, Stephen, I'm so glad we got to meet you today, man, because it's been so much like the conversations me and TK, Zach, and Justin have on a daily basis, you're just like us, man. And this is exactly what we're wanting to do with the Appliance Alliance group. I'll tell you, if anybody higher up in Mr. Appliance is watching, look at this guy in Lexington, Kentucky. He's doing everything you want him to do, and he's doing it the right way.
My wife is my higher up.
Yeah. Well, whoever's heading up the franchise of Beyond inside Mr. Appliance. I mean, you're right. One question we like to ask people that are in business, though, is what is something that you struggle with? Because what we're trying to do with building up the appliance repair industry is we want to figure out what other people are struggling with and come together. And that's what we do in the mastermind. We come together and help each other. Is there anything that you struggle with?
Yeah, well, I struggle with a lot, but it's constantly trying to get it better. I guess the biggest struggle for anybody is, and I hate to say it this way, but it's finding quality human beings. It's not finding an appliance technician. It's not finding it's finding quality human beings, because sometimes some of my biggest mistakes were, I can't even call them mistakes. They were learning moments. Some of those were trusting and not going with my gut, and assuming someone's a great human being. And we've had 3 or 4 that I could think of in 9.5 years that I just feel like I made a colossal error. So it's learning to go with your gut. A lot of times, and I guess that's my biggest weakness, is I try to outthink it sometimes, and I don't want my preconceived notions or things in my head to block me from missing a great opportunity in a human being and a great hire. So I would guess it's doubting my gut sometimes, and more often than not, you have instincts for a reason. So trust your instincts. I guess that's the biggest thing I struggle with.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I think Sturgill Simpson said it best. If there is no doubt, if there is a doubt, there is no doubt. The gut don't never lie. That's what Sturgill Simpson says.
Leave it to a Kentucky boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have to become friends on Facebook, because your background sounds an awful lot like mine. Learning lessons the hard way as far as managing people, and going from a great technician to trying to run a business and having to learn lessons over the years and falling on your face a lot. It's that story is all too familiar. And I love what you're saying, as far as learning those lessons, taking your licks, and then moving forward with those lessons. That's just it. If you can't be humble and learn the lessons from your mistakes, you're just going to keep making the same mistakes. So I love hearing that you've managed to move on. And it doesn't mean you're not going to make new mistakes, right? Like you're probably making new mistakes every single day.
I'm sure I made 2 today. So
only 2?
Just I limited my exposure today. So
Fair enough. That'll help limit the mistakes that you make. So yeah, no, it's a brush. I can't speak. It's been a long day for me. Breath of fresh air to just to hear that kind of mentality. So, EJ, I'm gonna pass it back to you for some closing thoughts.
Yeah, I just, like I said, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We're so close. We need to meet up in person sometime. That'd be great. I've enjoyed hearing the way you think and the way you run things, and we appreciate the honesty of the struggles because we all have them.
Yeah.
So we'll ask one more question for this. If you could tell the appliance repair industry or community one piece of advice, whether it's a tech getting in, a new business owner, an old business owner, whatever you wish, just what's the best piece of advice?
If something's not working, detach yourself from it. I think we make our biggest mistakes and see things narrowly when we have emotion and raw emotion, especially. You got to detach yourself. Instead of making a quick decision, sometimes take a step back, take the emotion out of it, breathe, and look at it just facts, and make a decision. That goes for new techs coming into it, new business owners, existing business owners. That's any of those. Detach yourself. Take some of the emotion out of it. I know it's your livelihood. It's your family's money. It's your employees' family's money. It's your reputation. Sometimes bad decisions are made in haste. If you can detach yourself and look at things away from it and let the emotions stick out of it, you'll make better decisions.
That's good stuff. I think we're going to wrap it up, but we really, really appreciate having you on. I think we're going to need to do a follow-up interview at some point, if that's cool with you. And just have you on every once in a while, because it's been, I honestly wish we could talk for, hours. So I'll probably be calling you at some point. But it's good to, it's inspirational for me, man. And I know these guys too, because we're all kind of in similar boats where we're trying to get to that level where we have 9, 10 plus techs. And, it's just reassuring and comforting to know that there's guys like you out there doing it right, that truly care about and love their guys and their crew and their CSRs and everybody in the office. Hopefully I'm not cutting out anymore. Because that's what happened last time I started talking. But we just really appreciate having you on, Stephen. In closing, I just want to thank you for coming on and, being a part of the Appliance Alliance and giving back to the community. Next time we're in Kentucky, we'll have to do a meetup and catch up with you. But thanks for coming on. Zach, you got anything in closing?
Yes, I do. Technical issues are just abounding today. Always have something in closing, but yeah, no, we do. We really appreciate your time, Stephen, and taking the emotion out of it, man. That's a practice that definitely takes a lot of practice. It's something that I've had to learn and I've had to fail at many times over my 9 years in the industry, and especially my last 5, almost 6 years as a business owner. So I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate the fact that you're willing to be real with the community and just, share a little bit about who you are. So we thank you for that. So guys, this has been the Appliance Alliance podcast. Again, our guest was Stephen Hughes. He is a franchise owner of Mr. Appliance down there in Lexington, Kentucky, next to our co-host, Mr. EJ. And that's it, guys. Really, if you haven't signed up for the mastermind waitlist on theappliancealliance.com, what the heck are you waiting for? That's the kind of caliber of mastermind group that we are wanting to have. So get yourself signed up. Seriously. All right. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. Help make the appliance community better. So for the Appliance Alliance podcast, we're signing off.